Welcome to Spiritual Stories, the podcast where the unseen becomes seen. I'm your host, Kim Ibrink Jansen, international psychic medium, spiritual advisor, and universal messenger. In each episode, I sit down with gifted intuitives, psychics, healers, and everyday people who have lived through something quite extraordinary. These are their stories. So settle in, grab a cup of tea, and let's dive in. So today I'm joined by the talented Jean Sheehan, modern medicine woman, keynote speaker, and facilitator of Atlantis and the Egypt Mystery Schools in Egypt. She was just telling me she's going there next week. She's the keeper of ancient wisdom, guiding VIP journeys through Egypt's temples and mystery school portals. So I'm sure Jean has lots of spiritual stories to share with us today. So welcome to Spiritual Stories, Jean. How are you?
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Kim. And I'm very honored to be here with you.
So nice to have you here. We don't really get to catch up that often, so it is also maybe a little bit of a catch up with us, because we used to live close by, and it's been probably almost about 12 years since we've lived close by. So it's good to have a little bit of a catch up. But also, you have been doing amazing work in the world for such a long time, and I'm loving the evolution of it all. But also, what you're doing now is incredibly important for the next steps for humanity. And particularly, I have never heard any stories about Egypt, so I can't wait to hear what you've got for
Mm.
us.
Oh, sounds good. And it feels like yesterday, Kim. Thank you so much.
It does feel like yesterday, and I do say that I have been back a few times. So, but yes, it does feel like yesterday. So I'm going to leave the floor to you, and you can share with us again anything that comes to mind around some really cool experiences that you would love to share with our audience around really amazing spiritual stories.
Oh my goodness me, like, where do I start? But I think I'll start with an Egypt one because you said about Egypt, and
Mhm.
because I'm going there next week, and I'm actually taking a group to Egypt and another group to Morocco, and then back to Egypt again. So it's 3 months. And the when you were speaking, the first thing that came to mind was actually last year. I was guided to take a group of 13. 13 seen as a bad like number, but in all of this ancient wisdom, 13 is actually the number of the genius. And when I teach sacred geometry, we're in the 13 year. It's not numerology, it's sacred geometry. And normally, when I take people, it's about 6 to 8 because we go underground, we go to secret tunnels, places that are not on the touristy type place. But it was, you must take 13, and I had exactly 13. It's about quarter to 3 in the morning. We're about to enter Giza Pyramid. I've got goosebumps as I say this. We're about to enter Giza Pyramid by ourselves because I always get private access to the pyramid and to the Sphinx. And 3 to 5 a.m. is a time of silence, but a time of great connection to everything. It's like where the nocturnal animals are not awake, and the day animals are not awake either. It's a silence time.
Mm.
So that's why I always book it for that time. We get to the entry, and I've been there like heaps of times with different groups. And there's this dog standing there, just wagging its tail, saying, "You're back. We've been waiting for you." Now, the guards and security are very private access, there's all this security and things like that. They're all trying to get the dog. And I'm saying to my Egyptologist, because there's always me plus an Egyptologist, saying, "No, no, please, I need to speak to the dog. And can you tell the guards that it's all okay?" So as I'm speaking to the dog, it has morphed into like this ancient being, more galactic than like a human being. And I'm used to seeing things like that. But some of my group were the first time into like spiritual woo woo, as they call it. And they said, "What the fudge?" But swapped the word fudge for another word.
Yes.
And it was, "What the hell is happening?" I said, "Just go with it." So the dog beaming as a dog and this being said, come on. And then ran through the tunnel to go up these very steep stairs. In the meantime, the security guards are starting to fight. So I said to the group, please follow the dog. I said to my Egyptologist, I will get the dog back, but the dog will morph into this being, just follow the being. So that's exactly what happened with the naked eye. Like, I can always see them, but with the naked eye, the group could. And we had a couple of people that were not into this. And I just asked the dog, please come back, because the humans are getting a bit stressed. And he waited for the whole time, because we were inside the Paramount doing toning and activation and all sorts of things for 2 hours. He waited at the entry until we finished. And it was the most beautiful, beautiful experience. For me, dogs are very, very important. It is unconditional love. The way he moved in his dog form to being. And what was even more the blessing was, normally we have a lot of security folks inside. There was one police officer, and he said, do what you want. And I thought, what? I've taken heaps of groups here. So he said, would you like the lights out? Yes, please. So we were able to do toning inside there for 2 hours, do whatever we want. And he opened the Queen Chamber. So it was just the most extraordinary, but also natural. It's extraordinary because people are going to say, oh my gosh, it was just like, something's happening. For me, it was like, but it always works out. I know it's always going to work out.
Yeah.
From the 13 people to the dogs, to have the place to yourself for 2 hours, to meditate, because inside you're not allowed to meditate or any of those things, but we were able to do whatever we want. So then it continued. So as we came back down, doggy's standing there going, okay, finished. You're all clear. The other dogs are waiting for you at the Sphinx. So it's a short drive down to the Sphinx where we have private access again, and especially during the process in between the paws of the Sphinx, there's actually a portal behind. And again, security guards say, do whatever you want. They're actually standing at the top of the gate or having a cigarette. So we did whatever we wanted.
Whoa.
Again.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Crazy, but natural, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like, and I think this is something that you could probably, confirm as well, is when random things happen, we always have a knowing somehow that that's how it was meant to play out, even if our brains can't compute what's going on.
Yeah. For me, it's like a natural thing, but to watch the clients sort of know, I said to them, like every journey, I say, just be open to the unexpected, be open to anything. And so they had that awareness, but because it was there, they were questioning, but excited, but curious. And it wasn't a natural thing as such, but it is always happening. As I say, it always works out. And so, yeah, that whole process, they were on this incredible high, like children on Christmas Day, because of the experiences from the dog, the morphing, the do whatever you want experience. So, yeah, for me, that was just the most beautiful thing. And I'm so, so grateful.
Oh, I think also too what you're explaining is important for everyone to listen to, mainly because we are going to start to see more and more things that we've not seen before. And like how do we deal with it? Like what you're saying is actually really helpful for us when we are moving through these stages of not really understanding what's going on. We have to trust, or have a level of trust, that it's all playing out somehow for our, highest good or whatever. So, and then usually it does end up being that way. But our brain, and this is why I do a lot of work on the mind, is that the brain is just, because if it hasn't seen it before, it glitches and it starts to not really understand what's going on. And I think that's where sometimes people can go into shock.
Absolutely. Yep, spot on.
So it's actually really helpful for you to share this story. Particularly, I know, like I do know, and I get the message all the time. We are going to start to see really different things happening, and get ready. But using the guidance that you have just shared, with having an inner knowing that, okay, this looks weird, but I have to understand that it's happening for some reason, even if I don't understand what that reason is.
Yeah, totally. And for me, it's natural, but I thought I might share another story relating to my husband, who this is weird. Like, so he grew up strict Catholic. He grew up, his dad was a politician. His mum was a secretary in education department. He was Catholic school. He then went into the army. So there's a background of very normal, grounded. None of this like spirituality, weird type stuff. And what they used to do for part of their training was they would go out what's called bush. And most of the group was asleep, and he and two other soldiers had to stay awake because they were practicing going to war and whatever else. And the three of them, might have been, again, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they suddenly looked and went, what the fudge? Again, another swear word. The big, massive trees were walking, like moving. Now, we're talking maybe 35 years ago.
Serious?
Yeah, and the trees were walking, and the three of them said, right, we don't say anything to anybody else. And I didn't know this. I met my husband when I was 16. He was 18. And it wasn't until I was teaching about 15 years ago, he'd actually shared that on one of my courses, teaching medical intuition. And he shared with the whole group. My jaw dropped, not because of surprise of trees walking, but surprise because he saw it.
Yeah.
He admitted it. Yes, he admitted it. And from that time, that was a conflict in his brain. I'm sharing this because you just mentioned it was a conflict in his brain because he'd been taught with his schooling and education and at home, all of that is just not possible. That's just not possible. Like, really? Don't be silly. And what Jean says, well, he's used to me being crazy, but he saw it. And he still today says these trees were like huge, huge oak trees that just got up and walked. And in the morning, when the other soldiers woke up, they thought they'd see whether the soldiers remember the trees. And they said, oh, do you notice anything different? The other soldiers didn't see anything different, but they didn't notice the trees had gone. They're gone. Where'd they go? And then these are like massive, massive.
So not only did they move, but they were gone.
They walked and went. So he hasn't shared anything with his family because his family
is the best story ever. I think out of all the stories I've heard, that is actually the best story I've ever heard.
Yeah. So he has that within him, and he sees the things that happen either on my courses or my events or at home or whatever. But that story of the brain glitching, as you called it, it glitched, but it was still with him always. And even right down to once the kids are grown up, they're adults now, they're in their mid-20s and early 30s. He says, who's at home? Because he can hear pitter-patter of feet like running around as though it was little kids. And I say to him, the kids aren't here. Nobody's here. It's just you and I. So that was about a month ago.
Oh my gosh. I think something that you've just explained, which I think is really important for even spiritual people, that you don't need to be spiritual to have these experiences. Like, you don't have to be a higher consciousness being to be able to see. And I wonder, like, what makes the difference between people who can see things and why they see them. And again, I mean, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't matter, but it's like, I wonder what the difference is. Just perfect timing, I suppose.
That perfect timing. Maybe we open, like the group, as I said, the 13 students from mystery school last year, we're open to seeing whatever is at the perfect timing, and even right down to the security being open. I don't know whether they saw the dude or not. That doesn't really matter. But they were open to, Jane, do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want. And so I do believe never in coincidences. I don't believe in fluke or synchronicity either. I just believe now, and it always works out. Always, always. How am I going to get the messages, or is someone else? Is it seeing, smell, taste, sight, remembering, feeling, sensation? I don't know. Or dog morphing into a dude, or a tree walking out of the ground. I don't know. Just yes.
I think that's what people get really confused about, especially if they're wanting to start to, receive messages and signs and to have some kind of guidance in their life. That's one thing I notice is a lot of people think it's supposed to look a certain way. And it's always, again, when I show them what it actually looks like, because I think, you watch TV or, or even watching, psych or anyone doing their job, they think it looks different to actually what it actually is. And also, again, the message I keep getting is, again, what you think it is not necessarily what you think it is.
Yeah, definitely.
I think also maybe for your husband to see the walking trees, he's actually being like getting ready for being with you and getting like, so again so if you had some stories to tell him, he'd go, well, I've seen this, so nothing can surprise me.
Absolutely.
And did he say anything about what the other men said about it?
It was like just a hidden rule, don't say anything. So the three of them that stayed awake just went, did you see that? Yes, I saw that. So they discussed it amongst themselves. But being in the army, like if you start to say things like that, they're going to lock you up. So nothing was said ever again, even when they caught up the next day or whenever, nothing was said. But he just held on to that. And as I said, I didn't find out until years down the track of being married. He shared it. But for him to even share it, had left such an impression, not fear, but an impression. But he felt safe to actually say it. And where you just said nothing looks meant to look, I remember years and years ago thinking, oh my gosh, all of these psychic mediums, and oh my gosh, and I can't see. I didn't actually understand that I could see what they could see, or they could see, well, I don't know, whatever the words are. And I'm actually putting them up on a pedestal, thinking I can't get it. And yet I'm talking to some like person, dude, spirit dog or something next to me, just thinking, oh, everybody does that, not understanding what is spirituality, what is the connection, or any of that. And that's partly because as a kid I could always do it, but I was told as a child, because of my culture being Arabic Greek, it's bad, it's devil's work, don't do it. So my brain interpreted that other people do it better, and I wish, and if I could, and if I could see it, or if I could whatever, but I didn't understand I was connecting on my own way as well. And so was my husband connecting on his level as well, and that there's no set way of connecting. I'll use the word connecting because sometimes I don't know what words to even use.
Well, we are moving into a time where words are starting to be glitchy as well. And there's I mean, people who, when they go to the other side, they say there is no words for a lot of things. And I'm finding in reality, we are starting to struggle with words for the experiences that we're having, and particularly when we step into what I call, the unknown, and we're having these experiences, particularly around different feelings that we have. And as psychics, we do actually use feelings to, get information. That's how we navigate things. And when there's no word for particular things, we actually start to realize, and I kept getting the message that we're moving into the 3 T's, which is telepathy, teleporting, and telekinesis, the 3 T's. So first one's telepathy, right? And we've all been told that telepathy looks like this, right? And sending messages to each other. Yet if everyone realized, it's again that message that comes through and says, oh, ring such and such, and then you ring them and they go, oh, I was just thinking of you. And it's like, it's not something you have to try and do. And I think that's the first thing, the first rule in any kind of study of spirituality is not to try to do something. You can't try to do it. It's about being, like I say, being in the nothing and just allowing what comes through to come through, and again come through with whatever experience it is, and we're just the one who observes it and goes, wow, this is a thing. Like you're saying, with your experience in the pyramids, it's like, okay, this is a thing that's just happening. And I think we're also moving into a time where it's like we don't label what it's called.
Mm-mm.
Because we're starting to, but the thing is that if one person can see it and another person can see it, and we understand that it's happening, we don't need to have a word for it.
Yep, I'm so with you, because a word for what? How do you...
A word for what, right? Yeah. I think also, and the thing I keep being shown that telepathy is kind of like, and I don't know anything about pyramids or the Egyptians or anything like that, but I do know that they used to write on walls. And the thing I keep being shown is telepathy is almost very similar to how they used to, instead of using words when they were back in the, I'll call it the olden days, ancient, it was all images and pictures to explain what was happening. And that's exactly what telepathy is. And so instead of us having words for particular experiences, it's going to be images that are going to be coming back as a way of explaining things. And again, like, someone was asking me about, experiences that I've had and that they haven't had those experiences. And I'm like, well, that's okay, because my experience is this and your experience is that. And I always say, whenever we are having an experience, the way the brain learns is through evidence and experience. So it's like, you can't really know anything until you experience it, and you can't explain it to someone until they experience it. So again, that kind of be do have scenario of, let's just get out and just experience it. And then at the end, so often my guys upstairs send me a message going, Kim, it's happening. And I'm like, oh my God, really? it's like a big shock, because and this is why, again, from manifesting and all that sort of thing, that whole thing around being specific never worked for me, because the universe often says to me, it says, you're being limiting by being specific. It's like, why we're stepping into these new worlds of experiences, let's just call it. And it's like, it's going to be different to what you could ever know. So even like, again, when you're looking at what you want or where you want to go or what you want to do, it's like they're saying it now, you have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. Like what you're talking about, you create these containers of experiences, but you still really don't have any idea, what's going to happen.
No, all I know is the itinerary. I know I've booked a pyramid between 3 and 5 and 5 and 6 is Sphinx. That's all I need to know. Yeah. Did I know there was going to be a dog there? Yes, no, meaning yes, maybe energetically no on a human. I don't know, but I know it'll always work out. That's all I need to know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. We're not born with this program, and especially, our upbringing never tells us that things always work out. And, when bad things happen, people freak out, really not really understanding that, again, when life falls apart, it usually falls into place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it always works out, is part of the sacred universe. I know the word manifest is used a lot, but for me, it always works out. And 2 Fridays ago, a client said, Jean, I want to go for a night walk. What can we see? And I said, Venus is so strong. There's a planet every year that is very strong, and Venus is for 2026. And I said, okay, let's meet in this forest. we met in the forest and parked the cars. I said, look, I can't tell you why, but I'm guided to go up that mountain. It's only a 10-minute drive. Shall we go? So we do. We look up, no moon. And then I looked on my app of the moon, because I feel integrating like apps and things under spirituality is part of the whole picture. And the sun had set, but the moon was just on top, according to the app. And I went, what? Then I looked up and Venus was she was pulsating so strong. And she had this like reddy pinky color to her. I put the app up. Yeah, that's definitely Venus. And I said to the client, let's lie upside down on the mountain to look at all the stars. And we could see Venus, and as soon as we did, there was like this golden, like door, I'll call it door, gateway, portal thing around Venus. And then from nowhere, these red lights that were like a line came out of the black and into like that they were just all pouring in. And again, my client said, what the fudge? My clients tend to have a lot of what the fudge moments because she said, I want to see beings or aliens or whatever. And I said, it's not about seeing beings or aliens or like they're part of us. Just be open. So she said, bolt upright. And I said, come on, we'll stand up and watch. And they were just pouring in. Again, is it timing? Is it a word? What do I call it? Do I call it a portal, a gateway, a galaxy, a vortex? No, I called it Venus and them going
the thing
in.
that happened. Let's just create a new phrase called the thing that happened.
That's what happened. There you go.
It's just what happened. I think the main element, and this is a big part of, my work moving forward, is guidance. Like we don't know where we're going, and being guided is what we need to follow. Because we have no preconceived idea around what we're going to be moving into. And I love that your stories also have other people witnessing them. Like that's usually the hardest part is, did I just make that up or did that really happen? I love how you've actually got evidence from other people, even your husband has, around things that we're seeing and things that have happened. Like, I think these stories that you have shared with us today have definitely opened people's minds to, oh my God, we live on a planet that definitely there are things happening that we have no idea about.
I think, Dylan, I think it's just fantastic if people are just a little tiny bit curious to go, what else? What else?
Oh, do you know what I think? I think that if people aren't doing that, they're starting to feel really uncomfortable, particularly this year. They're starting to feel really, really uncomfortable with their life. And often, I always know, and I see you nodding, it's like, it's usually a sign that they're ready for this other thing that we're moving into. And the thing is that it's something that's happening that we can't deny. And I call it the universal bitch slap. If we keep doing the same thing time and time again, the universe I will swear, the universe will give us this bitch slap to just try and get us back into alignment with where we're meant to be going and what we're meant to be doing. And I think, when people are struggling, and anyone who's listening to this who is struggling, again, we have to trust it's happening for a reason. And I guarantee them that, again, opening their minds to something like these stories that people witnessed and experienced, there's no way that we can't deny that something is happening.
Absolutely.
Something's happening.
Absolutely.
And it's exciting.
And I love that.
It's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I think some people can go into the fear element, and again, that's fine, but it's a way to go. But that does block you off from all the possibilities around what else it could be. And again, I think that main phrase that you've said, which is knowing it's all here for us for some reason. We just don't understand it, but to trust that it is. Again, the universe just responds with more things to confirm to us that it is here to help us for some reason.
I agree. And that's why I use the word curious. And for me, I just get excited like a little kid on Christmas Day. It's like, look, oh, look. I don't get frightened by it. It's just deliciously wonderful, and what else is possible, and you said about guidance. Every day I wake up and I do my gratefuls just to myself, and then I always say I am connected to divine guidance, so that I can be in peace and not have, what did you call it, a universal bitch slap? Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Yeah. So I don't have one of them. um, I'm connected to divine guidance.
It
So
is
that
how it
it's
is.
like, I want to be curious. Mm.
Yeah, like
Yep.
it is how it is. If we don't follow the guidance, something will make us. And sometimes,
Yeah.
well, actually, they're just saying to me, all the times it's not comfortable. It's very, very confronting if you don't do it. But particularly now, I don't know if you've noticed this year has been particularly powerful with us shifting us into this new, I don't like saying new reality because it sounds old, new place of movement. I don't know where we're going, but it's very magical and very, very, I mean, again, they say that it's something that not a lot of people have had the chance to experience. And I just love
Mm.
that the
Mm.
stories you've had for us today are things that people would not normally experience, but by hearing you talk about them has helped them to open their minds to the curiosity, because when you work with mind does love curiosity. And anyone who's stuck in their head, if they can bring that level of curiosity in, then they're not stuck.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm so grateful. I will have you on again to share some more stories, because I'm sure you have more coming. So
Well, could be.
I am sure that you will have some
Mm.
more stories, and we will have you on with some really cool stories. Next time you have things
Thank
coming
you.
up, start noting them down, and
I
we'll
will.
pop you back on. You can message me when you're ready to share some really cool stuff. But I have absolutely loved the stories you've shared with us today. I am so grateful. You've opened my eyes, because I'm like, wow. You know, you probably hear of people talking about seeing and experiencing these things, but not when there's other people around. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
that is
Thank
so
you, darling.
good.
Thank
That
you.
is so, so good. Thank you, my love. Thank you so much for being here, and look forward to having you back on again at some stage. But everyone else who's listening, please trust that this is a thing. There is a really cool things happening. There's so much to look forward to, and it's a very exciting time to be alive, isn't it, Jean?
Oh, let's play. Let's go.
Oh, I'm going to say that that's how we're going to finish off. Let's play. Let's just have fun and enjoy this journey that we're on. So thank you, Jean, so much. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And join us next time for more spiritual stories.